Imagine an obby that's never the same twice. Every time you start the course, it's a different jump in a different direction. That's the form my game eventually took, but that wasn't how it started. Let me take you to the beginning, to when I first opened the project file. You see, my original idea for the game was for it to be a crate system randomized obstacle course. Here's how that would have worked. You would open some sort of mystery crate or box, which reveals an obstacle course, or obby for short. This obby would be completely randomized, and in order to gain cash or any other in-game currency, you would have to complete the obby which got selected. So I got to work, and after 30 minutes, I was starting to get somewhere. Platforms were spawning in different locations, but the course was just too easy. So I went to make it harder. I had to create variables to make sure the jumps between the platforms were far enough away to not be too easy, but close enough to not be impossible. Now that the jumps were spaced correctly, I still had the issue of the course not moving laterally. Because the course is currently just going in a straight line towards the finish, this provided no real hard challenges for the total obby. Then I had the great idea. What if I generated invisible platforms on the course in a randomized area that would act as checkpoints for the obby generation, which would add difficulty to the course and also make it not a straight line. This is what the system looked like using the new checkpoint method. Around here, I started thinking of easier ways to make a game involving a randomized course because there's just too many parts involved in a crate system. Then I came up with another idea. What if I used this system to make a global course for everyone and just play off rounds? The amount of checkpoints and jumps is randomized along with the location of the end, creating different kinds of courses. I thought this was good, but I needed more. The game can't just be a regular obby. That would just get boring super quick. Then I remembered a game I would play that created a perfect chaos environment. The same environment that I was looking for. Plates of Fate Remastered. They are a last to survive game, but use over 300 total game events to randomize a chaos environment. This is what birthed Shuffle Up. The goal was to create a randomized chaotic environment. To achieve this, I started by defining different game types, short, medium, and long. Each game type came with its own set of variables. For example, medium game features 3 to 5 checkpoints, while short games range from 2 to 4. These variations led to distinct gameplay experiences. Short games are fast-paced and high energy, while long games tend to be slower, offering an extended challenge. Later on, these variables let me create a distance and tower game type, distance usually being a long straight line, and tower being the most annoying game type of them all, just jumping mostly upwards. After the game types, I knew it was time to add game events like Plates of Fate. These events would be called modifiers. First, I needed a smart way to fire each modifier's function, as I didn't want to write out 40 if statements. So I did some researching, and the best option I found for this case was using _G. _G is a table that is shared between all the scripts of the same context level. This gives me the ability to fire functions using variables of the function's name. For example, if I wanted this to work for a modifier called bubbles, I could set an if statement that says if bubbles is equal to true, then fire this bubbles function. Or I could use _G to fire all the functions for all the active modifiers just by using their given name. Now that I had a way to activate modifiers, I just needed to create them. So I made 3 different main modifier types: games, players, and plates. Games modifiers affects the whole game, players affects players, and plates affects plates. That's pretty simple. So I started making new modifiers each day and eventually ended up with 34 total modifiers. But now I want to make some more. The first modifier I'm working on is going to be falling fruits and falling planets. This modifier is just going to be those items falling from the sky. I was taking models from Roblox's toolbox to, copy and not steal all of the models I have, and I accidentally set there's collision to precise, which actually crashed Studio. Here's what all the fruits and planets look like. Now it's time to start coding. Now for these, I already had some unoptimized code written from before for all the other falling objects, so I just copied all that over and optimized it some more. Here's some testing gameplay with the 2 modifiers activated. And around here, I realized that while playing that I didn't add the sun to the list of the models, which then I decided to add next. And here's the sun in game. Now that I added the sun, both the planets and the falling fruits modifiers are finished, and it's time to move on to the next modifier. The next modifiers I want to add have to do with visuals. First one is ghost. The parts are changed to a force field material, making them look ghostly. The second one is neon, using the neon material. Despite only having to change the material, this actually caused some conflict with all the other modifiers that use material changes. So I made a conflict attribute, which if any other modifier has the same number conflict value as the other, they will not be allowed to be played together. I went ahead and I removed the conflict between a highlight and fading plates, because I realized that those are going to still be able to be played together. The last visual modifier I added was the rainbow modifier. This modifier would randomly tween through random colors, making a cool color effect. So for the rainbow modifier, I used old code from past modifiers like moving and fade, which uses two quarantine wraps inside of each other to tween all of the plates at once. The rainbow modifier took a while because the code I used to copy from before was not fully optimized. So I had to go back and I had to update the code before I started creating the rainbow effect. This is the result of adding those three modifiers, and since they can't be played together, the left is the neon and the right is the ghost, and they both have rainbow active. Now I want to add saw blades. They're gonna spin like this, and they're gonna hurt you. Bruh, why are they not moving? Let's go. They're moving. That's what we like to see. Alright, everything's moving correctly, but they're not moving on the right axis. Kind of moving loppy. Yeah, they need to move the right way. Bruh. I think this could make a good modifier though. Loki. Alright, we got the saws working and everything. Look at that. You know, they're doing what saws do. They're spinning the right way and everything. But what if they got rid of your limbs? How would that look? I got it down. I mean, oh. Oh. That's right. They're supposed to be ands, bruh. I'm gonna make some lava spinners next. Lava spinners. Lava spinners. I think this is what I'm looking for in a lava spinner. Or, yeah, never mind. No or. I'm gonna have it spawn randomly around here, and it's just gonna be spinning. There we go. These are lava spinners. Let me make the top of them smooth and randomize the speed of the rotation. So this is -1, and I'll go -3 to be the fastest, so 3 times this. I think that'll be good. Alright, I made the spinners and saws work. The saws cut off your non-vital limbs, and the spinners just hurt. Also, when you die in game, instead of respawning back to the main spawn area, you respawn at the start of the course. Balloon heads, jumping is going to be pretty simple. Instant respawn is going to be pretty simple. That's kind of in the damage area. I'll just put you at 1 HP for instant respawn. I think I'm going to do one of each. So I'm going to do balloon heads, then instant respawn, and then I'm going to do one of these cameras. So let's start with balloon heads. The balloon heads modifier is going to be making the player's head bigger and making them fall slower, just like if they were to use the umbrella. That's not supposed to be like that. Oh no. Well, that's not supposed to happen. I feel like I need to make the distance super far then. That's the balloon head. I'm not sure if I should add increasing jump power or not, but seems fine for now. Well, the balloon heads took way longer than expected, so I'm not going to finish those next 2 modifiers just yet. And that's all I am up for today. So comment what modifiers you think I should add. Please subscribe and like. And although not fully complete, we just released this game, and the link is in the description along with our Discord.